just the back of the card. That didn't come out in color the first time, so, hey.
Hello, you guys. Sorry, let's push it to the limit.
No.
I'm not
I
the
know,
last one
I know.
on this, so that it's cool. Thanks.
He knows me, he knows that I. Like, I have one more minute of time.
It's always the people traveling the shortest distance.
Yes.
Okay, let's release this.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we've got the most important people here, the people actually putting this on. So let's get this started. We have Greg, we have Samantha, and we have Emily here, all from the county. And they've got a presentation for us on the UGA and the sewer project. Turn it over to Greg.
Cool. So I'm Greg Ballard. I'm the Development Code Administrator for Jefferson County DCD. And I've been here since June of 2023. And so I was just going to go over a quick summary of kind of what's been going on with DCD. And then I'm going to give it to Emily, our planning technician extraordinaire, to kind of help with the next part. To begin with, in 2021, there was a development moratorium about these SDRs and legal lots of records, and nothing could be issued except for a single family house. So there was a lot of built up permitting. In like October of 2022, we passed a requirement for the SDRs and legal lots of records. And so that was going to be required for every bit of land disturbing activity or development in the county. So we had a huge backlog of, I think, 500 or 600 SDRs that we had to get through. And then in 2023, just to make it more challenging, we lost half of our staff. And then luckily, Josh became the director in June. We got Phil as our building official. Chelsea is our office manager. And then they asked me to come back, and I was like, sure. So I've been a planner for like 35 years, 5 different counties, done pretty much every type of permitting. I was here from 03 to 06, and then I went to Clallam for 17 years where I was a senior planner. And then Josh said, hey, you want to come back? And I said, no. And then he asked me again, and I was like, yeah, maybe, because yeah, so I live in Port Townsend for the last 20 years, and I've been commuting. I commuted to Clallam. And so I used to joke that the least stressful day of my life was when I was commuting away from here. And so after 17 years, I think, okay, maybe I've learned enough to be able to handle this job. And so that was pretty fun. And then after I got here, we hired Mochi, who was here for 6 years. And she went to Eastern Washington as a senior and director for 7. So she came back as a senior. We hired Andy Gosnell. He was a sanitarian at Clallam for 5 years. And so now he's our associate planner who reviews most of the building permits. He's doing critical areas and shoreline permits. He's a great guy. He also knows the septic requirements. So he's a great bridge for us. Emily Calkins, she's a planning tech, and we want her to be promoted soon. But she's right now, she intakes all the cases, she answers all the questions, and then she took over doing the SDRs about 6 months ago.
Hello.
And so she's doing all the SDRs, and when I say an SDR, that's pretty much the vacant parcels where she's doing the report. To streamline the process, what we did is we came up with we call it a limited SDR. And that's where if you already have a house or something on the property, we don't do the full report that tells you all the critical areas and all that stuff. We just say, yeah, this is okay at this location. And it kind of streamlines the process. It also keeps Emily from having to do all of them. And we have like Andy or Lila do those. So it works really well. When we started, we were spending a lot of time on these cams where people were asking questions. And so because we're in such a backlog, we kind of eliminated those because cams are non-binding. And so after we trained our staff and got up to speed, Now we're offering the CAMs again, which is basically, you can come in and email a question or have a question answered for free. If it's more than like 15 minutes or you want a lot of time, you can either schedule a CAM or a pre-app. We also have a site visit that you can pay like 2 hours. We'll do a site visit and actually see that. So it's been going really well. I think DCD is operating great and we're well functioning. We have, each planner has a different specialty. So like Wayne Johnson does economic development and just general stuff. And he does most of the building permits and the shorelines and critical areas. Lila's doing our land divisions, our lot consolidations, and she also does some forestry and stuff. And then Emily, she's our she takes in the application, she invoices it, she answers questions, she helps with the planning commission. So and then she does all the SDRs, and she's getting them out in about a month. And so that's all I have. Emily's gonna maybe explain a little bit about the customer service that we offer, because I think a lot of the realtors and people would like to know how to get questions answered, how to use the maps, how to use the customer service portal. We have this new permitting system since about 2023, I think. And so all of our data went black, so you couldn't see anything. And so just in July, we got this customer service portal going, so people could actually see what's going on. And we're basically posting documents online through the permitting thing instead of making you go through Laserfish. So that's all I got, and I blathered on. Emily?
Just there's a quick question for Emily, of course.
She's trying to join.
Okay, thank you.
She's in the box. I know, when it gets so crowded, it's hard to, like, there should be a flashing thing on the side. I'm waiting. I'm in limbo.
To Mochi.
So yeah, so in like July of 2024, we eliminated all the SDR backlog. So now they get done within a month. And so that's really important, because without the SDR, you can't get a development permit. And so if it's a simple, like, hey, I have a house, I want to put a garage next to that in the development area, those go to Andy, that gets done quicker. So is there any questions for me? General questions? Or after Emily kind of gives a brief spiel about customer service and that stuff, then we can have Sam talk a little bit about the sewer stuff, or we can answer questions.
Talk a lot about it.
Oh.
Oh,
I can talk about it.
okay.
No questions? Okay,
That's what I do, Greg.
Yeah.
Legal lot of record, you don't even, if it's later than 71 as a plat, you don't even discuss it there. You don't receive that application. I mean, what is the deal? Should we just say, okay, here's a plat that's from 1977. I don't even need to fill out the legal lot of record application.
Emily will answer that question.
we do ask that you fill out the application as part of the SDR, but we don't charge you fees for that because it's a simple enough review. There are instances on our GIS where things are not properly organized. And so we always want to do a look first.
Right.
Just because some things import Ludlow doesn't mean, and we just want to check and be sure.
We have a la carte, so like we don't charge for the legal lot of record if it already has a house or a septic.
Right.
And stuff like that.
It's later done after 77 sort of.
And SDRs can be
That's the
standalone
best we have.
permits applications,
They are.
because it's confusing.
You have to, well, you have to fill out an SDR application, you have to fill out all 3 applications. The main permit application is generally just our informational sheet. That's your contact information. It gives us the right to go on your property if we need to do a site visit. Then there's the 2 supplemental applications. Those are the buildability analysis application and the legal lot of record application. If you're doing a full SDR on a vacant piece of land, fill out all 3 of those and send them in. If you're doing a limited SDR instead, because someone just wants to put a garage on their property, or the most common one we get is a septic repair permit, then just submit the main permit application, that main info sheet, and a site plan showing generally what's going where. It doesn't have to be perfect. We don't need 2,500 square feet or here's the 2 tanks. We just need the developable area. Did I answer?
Well, yeah, so like, for instance, if it's just a standalone without a supplement, application. Like, we just did one, let's use that as an example off of, in Oak Hills. There was no, land use planning at that point, so you just covered the lot with buildable. Without the, with the setbacks.
Right, that was a
Yeah.
vacant parcel
Yeah.
of the Golden View
Right,
Drive.
yep.
Mhm.
So a lot of those are like that for realtors, that's,
The cool
Those
thing.
are, so let me go in. Those are, that parcel was easier than most, but we still had to go in and do a site visit to confirm that there weren't wetlands
Right.
on site because they were mapped.
Yeah.
We did a full SDR in that case, and we needed all 3 of those applications.
Yeah, yeah, and the other one, like say for Crocker Lake with the setbacks from the DNR. You use those 250-foot setbacks, and you had a smaller,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because there was no house, there was no plans for permitting besides that, just to prove that, hey, you guys, this lot's for sale. It's a go, you can, it's made it through that first break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay,
When a parcel has a lot of critical areas on site, sometimes we end up needing to know where people are wanting to build in order to tell them what requirements exist for that buildable area. In that case, it's really more like, oh, technically there isn't a,
great,
beautiful buildable area on this parcel.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go through extra steps no matter where you build. Therefore, for us to give you actual answers that benefit you, we need to know where you're gonna build. And I know that becomes a difficulty if someone is just selling a piece of property. And so from the realtor's perspective, you just want us to tell you that you can build there. And we're saying, oh, you can, but only if you meet certain requirements.
sure, I've got a critical area report.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if you're in the shoreline, and it's a non-conforming parcel, sometimes you need to meet the modest home provision, and so we need to know that that home is less than 2,500 square feet. We can't just give you a green area without knowing those things.
The cool thing about Emily is she does the thorough SDR. We've tried to eliminate the ambiguity, like there might be a stream because we go out every week or 2 to verify these things. She also does like green areas where you can develop your yellow areas. You might be able to, if you give us reports and red, like this
So it gives
is,
us some zone.
Yeah.
So a client buying
Yeah.
something from these guys would be like, oh, okay, I don't know exactly, but I know
The broad,
this zone
broad
is
stroke.
definitely okay.
yeah,
Somewhere in this zone, because you're gonna face it somewhere,
right, and if there's,
ideally.
yeah,
and if we're not sure you can develop the property, we don't do the SDR, we'll say you need to give us the wetland report at this stage because we can't verify that there is a developable place on this property. So we're trying to get the reports up front and
While we do that, we're trying to eliminate unnecessary reports.
Thank you.
In that if we see that there's a wetland on site and we go out and make that site visit, we're able to estimate the edge of that wetland based on contour lines. And then we prescribe the largest possible buffer. And if there's a buildable area outside of that, we'll say you can build in this area without a wetland report. But if you want to build within 225 feet of that wetland estimated at about this contour line, then you need to give us a wetland report.
right, and it's not the largest wetland, that would be like 300 feet.
Right.
We're saying like this is moderate intensity,
Mhm.
here's the edge, and then she uses like the 225, and then if you want to give us more information, then we can give you, we'll say, oh, it's a class 3, or then it's only this.
So we should probably
Transition.
transition back to the original topic of
Mhm.
the sewer and
So,
the UGA. And just a reminder, everybody that is on Zoom to please mute yourselves. And I do have a question here, and Pam, I will find out for you shortly. And who's next?
let's,
Are you next or going over?
we were,
JS?
we can do that first, yep. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna dig around in our GIS area. I don't know, how well people know our website. But if we just go to our main website, to access our GIS, we hit Maps in GIS. And then I like to hit the second button, Public Land Records Mapping Application. Then that helps me skip a few steps to get to the right portal. And I use this all the time to review for site development reviews. So I use an internal GIS layer. So we have a few more layers and bits of information, but a lot of what we use is the same as what you guys have access to. So if we scroll into the UGA, theoretically, yeah, let me just go into Port Townsend. No, it's not even Port Townsend Bay anymore. It's South Oak Bay. Okay, scrolling in here. I know the main focus right now is zoning, and so we'll start with that. If I want to find the zoning of the parcel, I like to hit the parcel so that a pop-up box pops up, and then I can scroll to the very bottom and look at the zoning. And we recently changed the wording down here to include future UGA zoning and then currently applied.
Nope.
Do you have a question, Jim?
I'm sorry, I unmuted. I didn't know I was unmuted.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back to mute.
The cool thing, can you show just the top of that, the other things on that same,
All of it.
yeah, just briefly.
Yeah, this pop-up box is really useful. It can give us platting information. So is it in a plat? Yes or no? Now, this is correct about 97% of the time. But potential critical areas are also helpful. This one is a pretty good parcel because the only thing that pops up as being on the parcel or near the parcel is the critical aquifer recharge area, which does not matter in this instance because they would be hooked up to public water. But if we're to scroll out over here to the shoreline area, I'm going to take us to Irondale Beach area because we've got a nice wetland mapped on that site. And this is obviously not part of the phase 1 sewer area. But if we hit this parcel, can scroll down and see it's in an unstable shoreline area, apparently, which means that there may be geotechnical requirements to building. And I don't see a wetland or water body nearby. But if I want to go more in depth, I can go to the layers up here on the top right, and then I can basically click and show what I want to see. So if I want to look for streams, can do that. I also like to look at wetlands. See, there is a wetland here. And then geohazard areas. And these are kind of harder to look at. Generally speaking, there are usually no requirements for residential buildings in seismic or erosional areas. Shoreline slope stabilities sometimes matter, but usually what we're looking for is the landslide hazard. So in here, that's a slight landslide hazard, and it's hooked up to a moderate landslide hazard. And there may be requirements for building here. The legend. So then here are all the layers I have on right now, as well as what the colors mean. So here's your legend.
Just how about the print maps?
And if you want to print this out, you can go up here on the top right to find basically more tools. And then hit the print feature. And then you're going to have to go through these options. We're going to want to go and add a legend. And then if we go to advanced, we want to force the scale to something else. So I want to know what the current scale is, and then we can make it 1200 and then hit print. And it'll zoom in quite a bit. So when I use this, I generally mess with it first to make sure that what I want is zoomed in enough and centered before I hit print, but
Yeah.
we're just messing around.
And so this would print it like 1 inch equals
Exactly.
100 because of that scale, so she could do that. So Kevin Hitchcock, our GIS, has geo-referenced everything, so it prints the scale.
So hitting 1200
That would
did
be,
what?
An
just
inch.
divide, that's 1 inch equals 100, you divide by
Oh, okay.
12, and then if you did like 2400, 1 inch equals 200. So
Gotcha.
depending on your parcel, you would pick a scale, then you just use your engineering scale to measure stuff.
Just a second. Does everybody see the screen share screen? Of the map?
Shoot. It says I'm screen sharing.
Lila-
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Lila, are you okay?
That was at 9:18, so that may have been when I was putting it on.
Okay. Never mind.
There we go.
So that's the one you just did.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So here we have the landslide hazard, and then scale and scale bar.
Scale.
Can you show them the elevation?
I will try. The elevation hill shade is one of my favorite layers. It's a LiDAR, so light-based imagery, to give us an amazing idea of what the area actually looks like. Cutting through the tree cover, and we can kind of see these beautiful slopes over here. Theoretically, you can see houses. I think maybe the government can. And you can always toggle with this transparency so that you can see some of it as well as hopefully see the houses.
Just curiosity, when was
Yeah.
this LiDAR done?
That is a good question. I don't know. And I don't think that's going to tell us. So going back to some more UGA zoning based GIS tools, I want to turn off the critical areas. And I like to go to permitting and then hit zoning. And that gives us information about what the zoning is on the parcel. However, this is the current zoning. And there are two layers. We have the UGA transitional zoning, which is what is currently applied. And that means that's the zoning currently until sewer is available in that area. So if you want to know what the parcel will look like if and when sewer is available, we can click off that layer and then try to look through all of these different layers to find it. It's on the very bottom, and it's right now it's UGA low density residential, meaning that ideally they want 4 to 6 dwelling units per acre. That's what that currently means. Again, I find it's just easier to go onto the parcel and scroll down and see where that right now it's zoned rural residential 1 to 5 acres, and in the future it'll be zoned low density residential 4 to 6.
It's a matter of point, when you say in the future, do you have a specific date? Is that within a year or within 2 years?
That's when the sewer is brought there by a developer. The county doesn't have plans
So
outside
the
of
intent
the
is there,
phase one area.
but it's basically maybe 3 years of the outside.
Or
It could be.
or if it just gets a hotbed of activity.
Oh, sure.
and
It
then the
could be
sewer starts
super
going.
fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
or 20.
Yeah,
yeah.
Look it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
We
phase
do
1
have-
sewer area on this map.
We
I
do
think-
have, yeah.
I think Sam's gonna have it ready in June.
And so obviously, so I've turned on the phase 1 sewer boundary.
You might want to get to work.
Just leave, right?
Have you seen that's going on? I saw it going up on Mason Street, on Cedar Street up towards Mason Street, Cedar Avenue up towards Mason Street the other week. So, so I've turned on our phase 1 sewer boundary layer as well, so you guys can see where sewer is supposed to come in. and be available. And then we can hit that zoning again and see that most of it is going to be commercial, this red dash. UGA commercial.
The zoning's gonna turn on like a light switch. So I think when the sewer's operational, then the zoning changes, so it doesn't. The zoning doesn't change until you're in the phase 1 sewer area, and once they're accepting and operating.
Any kind of notification process? I mean, I realize that parcel by parcel would be ridiculous, but
We do, and thank you, Pam, for submitting the questions. We do have a dedicated site for the Port Hadlock sewer. Thank you. Pam.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, you're so cool. And we do, and most of what's on there now is construction updates. And where we've been and where we currently are. We do also have posted on there, the adopted ordinance for Jefferson County Code, which is Title 13 is the sewer code now. And so we do have that on there as well, plus all the sewer fees, system development charges and rates are on there. And I know that we're working on getting it on code publishing as well. So this is the Port Hadlock Sewer website. We do have general information, and then we try to keep up on construction information through Instagram and then the county's Facebook and then also the website as well. And we also have, may say this wrong, a listserv that when we do need to do mass emailings, we do. We also we'll show a staging map of how we're doing the on-site connections coming up. And we do have targeted emails that we send out to each of the stages so that the whole sewer group won't get something that's related to construction on one person's property. So we have lots of email sources in different places, so which is confusing and very targeted at the same time. So
And
mostly for us to make sure Sam clicks the right email. I'm not as good at this as Emily is. So, but we have Stephanie now too, who's on the sewer team. I wanted to introduce Stephanie as well.
let me.
So, and we haven't, we do notifications, and when we do have newsletters, they are posted. So there's quite a bit of history on the Port Hadlock sewer on this website, as well as, current information about, construction and, the utility code.
post that link to the chat.
So,
Yeah.
and then also contact information for the sewer team. When you do
Never mind.
email the sewer team email address, it goes to myself, Stephanie, John and Greg, who are not here in this room, but are out doing very important work on site. And it goes to Monty and I believe Chris in our office. So we try to make sure that we can get out to as many people as we can when we're emailed. So it's not just going to one person and they get stuck in an inbox. So,
So we just posted the link to the website
perfect.
in the chat.
good.
So as we go along, any of these things that we can, we'll put them in the chat for everybody.
The thing I'd like to point out too is, we have a land use table in 1815, which is the current one. And then when the phase 1 sewer area gets in, then we use the land use chart and the development codes in 1818. And so there's different standards and rules, if you're in the area that's being served by sewer versus the other areas.
Yeah, and I have both of those codes popped up here. So to give us a little bit of background, we've got our Unified Development Code, Title 18. Land use districts will take us to the current uses allowed in the current zoning. We'll have to go down to categories of land use. And then scroll down to the table portion. Let me hide this again. This tells us the meaning of the abbreviations. And then we can go down and see, here's our uses and here's our zonings. And it starts out with residential uses, multifamily, going into commercial, then industrial, and then more of public kinds of uses. And in the UGA specifically, I get a lot of questions about commercial uses. So we'll just go through a few of them. Say someone wanted to do a medical clinic. Those are not allowed in rural residential areas. They are allowed in rural village centers and allowed in neighborhood visitor crossroads and general crossroads. Yeah.
These are rural commercial zones.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have the sewer, then we have urban commercial zones, so it can be confusing.
How many commercial, crossroads do we have in the Hadlock area? Just.
Let's just go to the
a random
zoning.
question.
So it looks like this is our rural village center, and then this is, I think, general commercial, but let me hit that. This is general crossroads, GC.
So. Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has that problem.
Yeah, I usually use my mouse, so yeah.
So CM, do we have any active hookups yet in the,
You did the very good segue, Terry. Could have.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Boot it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a.
That's why they
cold.
invited
If
me.
anybody
Oh,
can't hear me.
Yeah.
The beard threw me off for a
Oh,
little bit, so
well,
that's new for me.
It's my first meeting in 34 years,
Okay,
so
perfect.
it's a very big event for me.
Stop sharing while I set this up.
Okay, not buying that one, but
I know. Some of it will be, we're gonna start with a little bit of background, and then we'll kind of get into hopefully, and then please ask questions along the way. I will state right now, I don't know everything, but I will definitely get back and let
just have
people
to go
know
here.
and answer any questions that we can. And if you have questions about specific property, we're always happy to meet.
Okay. I just have trouble finding where this is. There we go.
Oh, yeah, this is, sorry, this is a multi-purpose PowerPoint for lunch and learn too.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna start screen sharing again.
Okay. Oh, they didn't see that. I just told them myself. Thank you.
Wow, February 12th is hot off the press.
It is. The beauty of being able to change it quickly.
Every time. it
One
opens-
word.
Every time it opens, it updates
Yeah.
the date.
Yeah.
Great idea. I like that. I should have that.
Okay,
So,
it's not showing the screen. I might have to get out of presentation mode. Sorry.
What is that?
Oh, that's well,
it's
yeah,
just scroll.
yeah.
You just have. To
I thought it was
scroll.
a fun picture. I like that.
Well, I'm looking at Scott's screen to make sure we're screen sharing.
Oh, here,
Okay, cool.
Here.
sorry.
No, you're good. So I will put it
Yes.
back
Yeah.
here.
Well, no, I've got my chat screen up.
Okay. That
Okay.
should do
Oh,
it.
we're good. Okay.
Yep.
We're go time. So I'm Samantha, for all of you who may not know me. I am the wastewater project manager for Jefferson County Public Works. And I've been here for a year and a half and some change. And in the time, we're building this great project here, the Port Hadlock Urban Growth Area. Some people like to call it the PAHUGA. So sewer system project. So this picture here was done, it feels like not that long ago, but it was 2 summers ago. We were building I used the we, even though I didn't actually build it, I do a lot of watching and people work. But we built the rapid infiltration pond. It was Seton Construction was the contractor on our phase 1, and we'll go through the phases too, so that we can all have the same cool sewer language together. We put a let's just call it a water stop around portions of the pond. And so this is what that looks like. Oh, sorry, rapid infiltration facilities. And so that's what that looks like. So it's concrete. It sounds cooler. It's a water stop. And so for orientation, this is on the south side of Lopman Road. What you see in the background there is Cotton Ready Mix and Schultz Excavating. So right off of Elkins for orientation for people. Sorry.
You
Uh,
did.
So this is the whole UGA, and sorry, it's so small at this scale, and for people in the room, we have it as well. Um,
Size.
yes, it is, that's true. So I believe that's brown, the brown color is the urban growth area for Port Hadlock. And then the green is what we call the core area, you may hear it as, or the phase 1, Roman numeral 1 area. And that's where the current construction is going on. And also there's incentives, a lot of these terms come out, there's incentives for as long as our grant money lasts for that phase 1 core area. If you're outside of the phase 1 core area, the incentives are not the same. We'll go over a little bit of what they would be outside of the phase 1 core area. The zoning that's shown on here, the transitional rural, that's a hard word for me, sorry. Rural zoning is the urban growth area. We're showing the actual urban zoning in the phase 1 area. So just for orientation differences. The dashed mark that's on this map here, we also have a sewer functional plan or a facility plan. And we get the questions often of, when are you coming to phase 2 or phase 3? And so we kind of put on, this is the map of what is the residential area 2, 3, and 1 as shown in our sewer functional plan. So, and I believe we have that online as well. Oh, I'm ready. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm sorry. So phase 1, so this is a blow up our phase 1 area. The treatment plant is shown in purple. And so where the picture was, the reuse area is just south of Lopman Road. So the treatment plant itself is north of Lopman Road, and actually has a Lopman Road address. We are, as Greg mentioned, and we'll get into schedule soon, we are hoping to have influent come into the plant by mid June of this year. I can't believe it's 2025 already. Of mid-June, all 3 structures are up, and I have some pictures towards the end of what it looked like before and where we were as of last month. We are making very good progress. Seton Construction is doing all of the collection system. If you go to the next map, please. So this is a blend of our staging map, which basically breaks down how we kind of broke each of the properties and cluster them. The green, the very bright green properties, we are under contract for those properties. They are our highest water users and or commercial properties. And most of them were required to be connected per what is currently now our Title 13 sewer code. And go ahead.
What's the NWSWBB?
Northwest, it's the Wooden Boat School. Northwest School of Wood and Boat
got
Building.
it. Okay.
Okay, maybe that's its official name, but yes, it's the Wooden Boat School.
Lower Water Street. down there.
Yes,
Got
yes,
it.
Lower Hadlock. And so, we will be starting work probably in the March timeframe. And so once our green area, the goal and the hard part of this project is in mid-June, the collection system, which is currently being constructed, the treatment plant and our green properties need to be finished at the same time so we can start bringing influent into the plant. And they're all done by 3 separate contractors. So that's the challenge and the fun of this project. And then the second part, our stage 2 properties are the remainder, are smaller commercial properties and some of them are multifamily properties. And we also have a contract for those, and we are still working with the contract to get a start date for that. So that's kind of where we're at with our two stages. And so so the phases of our construction project, it is a $35.6 million project. Phase 1, number 1, not Roman numeral 1, for all folks following along here, is complete. Seton Construction did it. They put in the rapid infiltration pond that we saw the picture of, and also prepared the site to get it ready to build the treatment plant. The treatment plant is phase 2, which I mentioned the startup and receiving influent will be, it's only 3 months away, will be in June of 2025. It is an MBR bio infiltration plant. It's coming. Ovivo is the manufacturer of the technology that will be treating the sewage. And ICI out of Port Angeles is the contractor that is working on that. The low pressure sewer construction project is also by Seton Construction. They were low bid. And we should be done in March for that project. They're working out Nessett's Corner at night. So we didn't disturb all the businesses, driveways. So we're doing night work and we're doing 2 crossings. So by the end of February, we should be complete with 2 crossings and the north side of Nessett's Corner, all the way to Masonic Hall. Phase 4, stage 1 is Strider construction. It's about 33 properties. And there are our highest water users that will be starting to connect. And they need to be, we have a completion date. They need to be completed by the middle of June to bring influent to the plant. Stage 2 is those smaller, I think they were light blue properties. And their contract is that they have to be complete by September. We try to give flexibility on start dates, but we wanted to make sure they were complete by certain times. We're looking to bid the Northwest Wind and Boat School this spring to start to get them online as well. So those are our stages and kind of where we're at currently with schedule.
Who pays for the on-site grinders? Is that the user, or is that part of the bid process?
So for within the phase 1 area, the incentives, if you don't mind, Emily, could you kind of skip the money part? And then could you give me the next one, please? Okay. So for the first portion of the project, if you're in the phase 1 boundary and we have grant funding for stage 1 and 2, we are installing the grinder pump, the grinder pump control panel. We're connecting to the structure, so the building drain, the grease interceptor, and the line all the way out to the sewer collection system. The property owners are required to go from their electrical panel to the disconnect. And we are providing the disconnect box to their electricians. We did not want to go into people's private electrical panels.
So they need something on their panel to control
Correct.
for that control panel, their panel and their structure.
Correct. And we also have a sewer flow incentive program that we are paying up to $2,500 for that electrical work from their panel to the disconnect. They have to submit a reimbursement. The property owners submit a reimbursement to us. And then we're also decommissioning the septic tanks. And we're paying for all of the filing of the side sewer easements. So it's the total package.
Yeah, the grinders too. Is that residential as well? Will that be the?
We're going until we have our money is gone.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
So, and so this is our residential detail. Basically the house is different and it doesn't have a grease interceptor, but the same principles apply.
Well, the demarcate section, so you're gonna be taking care of and maintaining these grinder pumps.
Correct.
The PUD.
We being the PUD. Yes, we have an interlocal with Jefferson County PUD.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah. So the incentive program, that one's a lot, so we might just do an example, but we have an incentive program that is, we really wanted sewage flow. We need it to make the plant work.
Yeah.
And so with the help of so many people to get all the funding, especially our commissioners, we were able to provide this great service and put everything in.
It's great.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go through this whole table. This is probably the table that most of you online are interested in. It's when you need to connect to the sewer. It is table 4.1 within the sewer code. And specifically you want to be in 13.04, and this is table 4.1. And I'll just go over like the highlights of the important part of this table is the availability, if the sewer is available or not. And so the availability, we send you to another code citation, which is always fun to then, go to another code, but it's basically if available means if the sewer is with 200 feet from your property, then the sewer is available.
And you
And
have
so
to,
then you go to that bottom
Okay.
part of the table.
that's key,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, and then I just have an example of a single family residence outside of stage one that Greg so nicely helped me with. So Emily was in the same area, random, but so this example is, it's a 0.88 vacant lot, off of Irondale. This is not in the phase one area or the core area of the sewer project. Its transitional zoning is residential, rural residential 5. It's urban zoning with sewer would be 4 to 6. And so, and in this case, sewer is not available. Sewer is not gonna be within 200 feet when we're done with the phase one area. If you can build one single family residence on this property, it's not a required connection. But if you want to take advantage of urban zoning, sewer needs to come, and it's probably, I don't know, 500 to 700 feet away or more. You could build 3 to 5 lots, which equals, in my mind, 3 to 5 single family residences. So that's.
So they
how
can
the
pay
sewer
and do it.
helps. They can.
The interesting thing too is I think the zoning would change all along that line. So we would have from where the phase one area to this area, everybody along there would have their zoning changed.
Mhm.
because they would be-
Latecomers too,
Yes, yeah,
so you
we
have
are
to establish
We do.
latecomers, is it a 15-year or 10-year?
20.
20, nice,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, the other thing we have is there's an agreement that you can sign if you want to do the planning early. That our PAOs and Mochi came up with. It's so like if Mason Street wants to start early on their permitting, they can do that before the sewer, and it's just the acknowledgement that they're doing it at their own risk and that, we can't assure, just so people can be ready when the sewer is available, they can get their early planning done before.
That's a good idea when the mojo's like we're
Yeah.
doing it. I mean, that makes total sense. If
Mhm.
somebody, if you have enough units, enough benefit.
Yeah, so like 150 says, we made that into the ordinance that people could get their planning going now. So that they can actually have their projects ready when the sewer's available.
So just to be clear, in this particular example, if I wanted to develop 5 single-family residence lots on that, knowing I would have to pay for the hook in, I could start all the process now permitting wise, knowing it's going to be hooked up in 3 to 4 years.
Knowing that the sewer will be available in 6 months and
Okay.
you, the developer, will be bringing
Bringing it in.
from
the
where
rest
we
of-
are to the rest of the way. And
Okay.
there's the options of a latecomer agreement. And I can explain that,
Yeah.
or no protest, but this one doesn't feel like a no protest situation.
But you can pay for the engineering now and submit it,
Right,
because it would be engineered.
oh yeah,
Has to be within 6 months, is that what you're saying?
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying the sewer will be operational by June of this year, so
So anybody that's currently along there. is what you're talking
could go.
about.
Yeah, then you can install and you can actually put your house in and send sewage.
woohoo,
The other thing we have is we have it like Mason Street, they're doing the unit
Nice.
lot subdivision where they have like 150 units. And instead of creating lots for each one, they're kind of creating units. And so it's a different way of doing a land division. It's kind of more like almost like a binding site plan where, you're not really creating traditional lots and putting a dwelling on each one, but
you're
you're,
saying this is what the essential look will be this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
but that's only in the urban growth area.
Right,
With sewer.
right, for this sort of.
And then to kind of keep going with this example, outside of the phase one area, the incentives are it's so everything's happened so fast, it's actually adopted now, so that's exciting. Per our fee schedule, I think I have, do you mind going to the fee part?
Or is that
We'll
back?
go back to these guys, but let's just talk
Okay.
about sewer. So system development, so when you come, so fees when you come in to get a permit, will be system development charges when you're ready to put your grinder pump in. So the incentive is shown, so we're talking year one is 2025, which is this year. And we decided as a county that we would not charge system development charges for the first 3 years, and then we would phase them in for the next 3 years. And then at that time, we'll be operational and have better budgets, and then probably be doing a rate study, and that's why it's to be determined. So that is one of the incentives, just to keep to try to keep, as Terry mentioned, kind of keep things going as the capital project goes away and then the sewer comes online.
Is there a hookup fee, like a boat, like a PUD where we hook up to water? You know, is there a fee, standalone fee for it?
No,
Just that.
that would be the system.
Oh,
We
okay.
have a permitting fee, but there is not like what you're talking about. And because
Uh-huh.
you, the new customer,
New
developer,
customer,
is
yeah.
installing the grinder pump.
Right,
Yeah, you're doing all of that where the water department does those connections. So that's why you have the system development charge and then a connection fee
okay.
or an SDC, yeah.
If just one quick question, sorry to get off base here a little bit, but if a proponent had a big enough use, could they push the extension of these phases?
After, I guess that's a good, because I think I'm not making, after phase one Roman numeral is done. So far, the
settles.
we're the capital portion is over.
Got it.
And our new life begins into O&M and then
It's like the city then,
extensions, yes, then it's
okay,
kind of build as it goes unless, I mean, there's always maybe other monies that come up or things of that nature, but.
you just don't know anymore.
Yes, we just don't know. I can't promise things that we don't have
Right.
money for future, yeah.
DVD.
Yeah, but then, so go ahead with your question.
Well, that was my question, really, in that, you're doing this initial push, right? The money's there, money's gone, dust settles, everybody, goes back to this is the way it's gonna be. And if we get a lot of interest, a lot of growth, a lot of big users, that will dictate where the line goes. And there's a 20-year latecomer fee for people who want to hook up, and I'm sure there's some formula for that and some collection system already in place for that.
Yes,
And so, yeah, it's just, that's cool, that's great.
and we're getting quite a bit of interest on Rody Drive too, so is that
Yeah,
more
that's
of
what I
a
mean.
LUD or so? I mean, some of it will just depend on, like you said, the interest and things of that nature.
Are they sleeving on the new bridge area by the school over the Chimicum Creek? There's a big capital,
There
improvement
is.
program there.
We have
to
some
install.
idea. You want all the ideas, Terry? Yeah.
Well, I can't help myself. I'm sorry. That's why I don't go to these meetings.
That's why you don't. Well, we have a couple ideas on how to do that without, so far, my understanding, and I haven't talked to Monty in the last week or so about it, we are not on their box culvert bridge.
No.
So either we would be boring or I don't believe I'm not sure.
You can't hang on it.
That's what I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
I've heard it so many different ways, so we have some ideas of how to serve those areas. Could you go back to, please, would you mind? Oh,
That one?
that would work, that would work.
Sorry, do you want?
Oh, no,
Courage?
that's
Do you
fine.
want my computer?
So, if everybody's following along, property, one is, what will be the Habitat Mason Street development project. And north is to the top of this map. So on the west side of that property, we are asking for an easement to install sewer. And the right of way that goes down to Nessett's Corner there is called Hunt Road. So if I'm assuming we're gonna be granted the easement. So on that, the west side of property one, and then you'll see that right away there is Hunt Road. If we can get down Hunt Road, we can get to Rhodey from there, and then we can get to McCook Creek.
Oh, gotcha.
We can get
Nice.
Shotwell.
Oh, yeah.
We put in a line for Chimicum Creek Estates when we did the initial infiltration, so we would feed them through a line that currently is already installed and connected to the headworks. It needs to filter through, obviously, the development. But there's a stub there for them. So then we can kind of skip like going under the
Yeah,
bridge
yeah.
potentially. We've also, John Black, who is on our sewer team that does all of our modeling, who is fabulous. We have the best sewer team ever, but, there's a Chimicum Creek kind of runs this way, on the map that's showing. And we're looking at if we should bore under on that side and then have another way to feed to Rhodey. So we're trying to look at a couple different
Okay.
options if we don't go under
Yeah, that's a lot
where
of
the state
options.
route right away is. So that's what we're thinking now. We also put in a dual 6-inch line, thanks to Monty, who is our great leader. We also put in a dual 6-inch line on Cedar Avenue we just don't know how this is all gonna develop to make sure that we have the capacity. So as you say, it's a crystal ball and which neighborhoods are gonna go first. And so we're trying to somebody will outthink us, of course, but we're trying to have as many scenarios as we can.
A lot of units on the west side of Hunt.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is, I think, more focused on the vacant lots versus trying to serve existing residential areas where, they're not gonna have the incentive or want to connect. And so it's almost like you have to try to predict like which areas have the capability to pencil out and develop.
So if we can, I know we're all in a small room, but if we can do our best to speak up for
Oh, I'm sorry. I can talk louder. Okay.
we're all in a small room,
Okay.
so we tend to.
And the speaker is right here,
Okay.
the microphone's right here, so.
So, that was a good question. So, I guess, I had another thank you, Pam, again. So I want to do a shout out since you responded.
The only one.
Yes, I didn't read that part till just right now, but, I must admit, we've been very focused on the capital portion of getting the treatment plant going and all these construction contracts and consultants and keeping everybody moving in some, there's not always straight, but so we'll join together somewhere in June, but, we're working on what happens after too. We've been very focused on capital. We need to start working on what happens after. So thank you for the feedback about, we have started our sewer application. Our intent is to have an application that will be submitted to Public Works. And then once we Public Works do our portion of connection fees and, system development charges and applications, we as in the county would just send it to the PUD. If you already have an account, your sewer account would be added to your existing water and electrical account. If you don't, it'd be starting a new sewer account for you. So then you're not going to multiple jurisdictions. You're not going to us as the county to get a sewer application and then having to go get a new customer application with the PUD. So we're working with the PUD to make that a little bit smoother for people. We're still, so if there's comments or questions, once we post everything, we're happy to help. One of the other questions was to find us at the county for the sewer team. You had to go around. I always think of Family Circus. I always love that one when the kids like go up the tree. And so we don't want that. We want to make it as seamless as possible. So for the interlocal agreement, Jefferson County PUD is doing all operations and administration as it concerns with billing the administration side. So you're receiving one bill for the sewer. It'll include your water, obviously electric, and if you have broadband service through the PUD, all new development, extensions and capital will stay with the county's public work office. So you would come see Stephanie or I for right now for any permits or inquiries about properties. That will all stay with the county for now. Is how the structure is run. But if you have a grinder pump and it goes out, you're calling the PUD, their emergency line to help you. So that's kind of how we're dividing the services right now.
Public Works is the boss of this system. Right? Moving
According to,
forward.
yes, what Terry just said.
What Terry says, So Sally says, awesome news, Sam. Thank you for all your work and everyone else from Public Works. This is such a great update. You're amazing. Is this slideshow available online?
We can, anything you need, Sally. Thank you, Sally.
It'll cost you, Sally.
So, and then I guess also, also during our downtime where we need to put together, we'll have a technical spec, just sewer related along with details. So when you are planning your project, you'll know what we're expecting to be installed. We do have applications. We're working on our latecomer application. And then behind the scenes, we're trying to figure out how we fit with all the other departments. So thank you for your patience with us on new inquiries and things of that nature. I will, if you don't mind, yes, to go number 5, because I'm sure everybody, oh no, I can, the next table, let's go down further for like what your base rate is if people are interested. Are you guys interested in the
Yeah.
fee part? Okay, I didn't know if you would be, or just more
So
development.
down here.
Yes. that's
Aha.
perfect.
We're gonna keep it like
Okay,
this, just in
okay.
case.
So our residential sewer rates are basically base rate only, so there's no consumption charge. It's based on your water consumption. It's your equivalent residential unit or an ERU is a sewer. It's based on a average single family resident sewer use, and ours is 4,000 gallons is where we're calling our sewer ERU. But for single family residents, it's a base rate only, no consumption
Period.
charge.
It's not tied to water use at all?
Just said consumption.
I did. Did I? Oh, so could you ask the question again?
So is it tied to consumption?
No.
You're saying, no, it's just
No.
a straight fee.
Not for residential, straight fee, straight
Straight
base rate only. Mhm. And it's by ERU, so we give examples. A single family resident is 1 ERU, and then the ERUs that follow for duplex and ADU, multifamily.
So it's similar to what they charge now, like where I am.
Mhm.
No, you know, we have a community drain field.
Yes, you do.
Same
Mhm.
amount,
Okay,
basically, just with, and these are PUD's numbers.
these are from, during this process, we also had a rate, consultant who helped us with all of these and, to go through. So this is based on O&Ms and
Yeah,
things of that nature, yeah.
Gotcha.
They just happen to be very similar, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. And then for our low income program, no matter your ERU in this case, it's half or 50% of a single family residence. So of that one base rate, so that's why it's all 40. So we're not taking half of a 0.9 ERU. Everything is based on the single family or that one
Flat rate.
ERU. So it's $40. And for non-residential, which is also known sometimes as commercial, is it's 2 parts. If you use under 4,000 gallons a month, it's $80. If you use over 4,000 gallons a month, you're charged a consumption. And it's only for the 4,000 and over. It's not from 0 to 7,000. It's just that difference.
Okay.
between-
Right, you just pay that.
Correct. Mhm.
And so obviously there's a meter on it.
Yes,
And there's,
because we're using it's basically
Water
for
intake.
okay, so yeah,
Correct.
And she also. Can they exempt you out if you're doing like landscaping or?
Yes, we have a provision. We've been asked that question too for water use. If you have an irrigation meter, I know that for the potable water. Currently, the PUD does not have a separate irrigation rate. So it's all usually in your potable water bill. And so we do have a provision that we have a few different
Yeah.
methodologies to do it, to be able to subtract out, what potentially is your irrigation use.
you can pay more PUD for irrigation for water. But it just doesn't work out unless you're a big user.
Mhm.
You know, there's just.
Oh, yeah,
it's
the
gotta be
key-
real big user.
Yeah, the tier, yeah.
Yeah,
And so we went over system development charges.
Mhm.
It's similar for commercial, except, your commercial ERU really depends on your use. Okay,
Who's the PUD go to on this, you think, or in the future, like as, when it gets going, like?
for what?
For just the maintenance of it, if there's an issue with PUD is.
Oh, they're just.
Yeah,
in their front
yeah,
yard.
do they have
Yeah,
new
they have a
people? I
response.
mean, this is a whole
Mhm.
new thing for them in a
Mhm.
way.
Oh, well, yeah, they already have departments that handle.
With the
questions of
community
water.
drain fields, this
Yeah.
is a little bit different.
This is a
animal.
lot, yeah. They are gearing up though, I know.
Yep, that's
So
right.
they should be ready.
And we've met with the billing department, we've met with customer service once, because I know that both. Us and them are fielding calls, so I just need to keep remembering
Yeah,
to
that's tricky.
make contact, yeah.
Open it up for
And these
questions.
are just fun pictures.
Wow,
So
what's that?
this is what it looked like February of 2024. This is the site where the treatment plant is on, and then you can kind of see in the very back. Or north of, for picture's sake, the rapid infiltration pond, the other. Yeah, that portion there. And then that's Lotman Road going across.
Oh,
Mhm.
there's show beyond it, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then this is the site right when ICI took over in March of 2024. And this is fun. And this is now.
Wow.
Yeah, so the building, the concrete structure that the people are standing on, will be where your sewage is coming to. That's exciting, right? So where your influent is coming, it comes into this basin. Everything has odor control on it. That's another question we get a lot. This equalization tank will have covers on it and go to where those other two gentlemen are standing into an odor control scrubber infiltration area. It's proprietary media that it goes through to take out the scent. And then from that structure, it's pumped into that taller building, which is where the MBRs will go. Those two trains of MBRs that will treat the water, and then those lovely blue aquacats back there are where we're putting our biosolids, which we're gonna take to the compost facility. And for the city.
I was gonna say that, so that was the question. So all those will be sent just fairly close.
Yes.
Nice.
And then this is a picture for all of you who are interested, is a low pressure sewer line, which gives us a lot of flexibility, no pun intended, for a grade of the sewer line. You all may know, for the baseball fans, that's
Mhm.
Little League, East Jefferson Little League. And hopefully for
There's
the
the
sheriff's
sheriff's
office,
office
jail,
right
our
there.
taxes, the Elkins. And so this is the low pressure sewer, and then the pipe that's winding around, the black pipe there is a 3-inch low pressure sewer line that's welded together.
It's going the wrong way.
Yes, yeah, they're just keeping it off the road so the sheriffs can get in and out. They need to be able to get in and out as quickly as possible. And this is a fun one. This is us going down the trail to Ajax Cafe.
Hmm.
So this project stopped right at the parking lot of Ajax Cafe, and the next project for the Northwest Windboat School would connect the cottages as well as Star Marine, and
Mhm.
then give future connections for some of the residents down there. And then this is right on Irondale Road. This is installation of low pressure sewer line. Again, you can see it there. They weld it ahead of time and put it to the side, and then they gently place it inside the trench.
Gently, yeah.
There, yes. And so this is kind of cool. This is a connection. Everything is welded. This is a different kind of weld. We have one machine that you heat it up and you butt fuse it together. This one is electro fusion, and so they hook a little machine to it that tells them when to stop and start, and they scan the little tags, and then the bracket on there that's on the sewer
So it
main
just runs over
welded
both sides.
together. It hooks to two nodes, and then there's wires in there that heat up and then weld the two together, and then
Maybe
you
a
pour it out
technique
like you would a
we
water
enjoy.
main.
It's like-
You make a tap into it, and then you have sewer flow.
So that's the 6-inch side sewer into the main, right? there?
That is the 6-inch main, and that's a 2-inch line.
Oh, oh, really? Okay.
Um,
service line.
6-inch main here,
Yeah.
2-inch here.
Yeah.
They just-
We don't have anything over a 6. There's 2-inch main lines 3, 4, or 6.
And the MBR itself, is that just a chemical process? It's not, using a lot of energy?
We're gonna find out, but our estimates are. It's, we don't use that, and more of it is
Yeah,
biological
that's what
than
I mean,
anything, yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing its thing.
And hopefully we'll be giving, tours of the plant once we're going to. And then this is where everything's coming, so behind in the snowy patch there is being our mobile home park. And then this is, where all the lines are coming together to go across Ness's Corner, then into the plant. Cool. And then the things sticking out of the ground are clean out, so if we get a clog, we can.
So that's a big valve, that'll be a big vault on top of that.
Yeah, and there'll be a little pull out on Ness's Corner for it.
Awesome.
So
Big
we
deal.
hit 10:15 here. Do we want to get some questions? You have the clapping hands and a Sam exclamation point from Heidi.
Oh, thank you, Heidi.
Any questions from the Zoom crowd? Okay, now that's impressive.
That's impressive. You did such a great job.
Or there's so many questions, I don't know where to start.
They're all gonna call you later.
No.
All
Thank
right.
you all for your interest. It's very exciting and I try to be as quick as I can answering questions, and I'm not as fast as some of my other team members, but we're always happy to answer anything we can. Oh, this is Stephanie. Stephanie can introduce herself too.
Yes,
So.
Hi,
Hi.
Stephanie Ross. I joined the county in early December and come from a residential, commercial construction background, but this is more in depth with sewer, and it's just fascinating and fun. So I'm supporting the team.
Okay, and your role is administratively.
Thank you. Keep me going in the right.
So I did end up with a question.
okay.
What will beautification look like? And I'm not sure.
In green space with the project of development. I think it's-
Christina, you want to unmute yourself and
Yeah.
clarify that?
Okay, so once the treatment plant is up and running and you have the two areas on each side of Lopeman Road, what are we going to do in terms of making that look beautiful and maybe advantageous for the community?
Well, so far, the aerial might, it's.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. The first aerial, the treatment plant itself was set down. Into what was the old gravel pit. The MBR building does stick up quite a bit, but a lot of the buffering trees remained. Around, especially towards Chimacum Creek Estates. In the wintertime, you can see across to Morrissey and Blanche, across that wetland that's there. In the summertime, it's a little bit harder. We do have wetland planting buffer that we did, but other than that, we don't have any buffering plantings that were required. But
And you have a unique situation, just tapping in at your defense, that you have a lot of water lines. So you have to be very, very careful about what kind of trees you put in that
Sure,
area.
yeah, the roots.
It's a huge concern. When you put that amount of water, the trees will find a way over. So I'm sure you guys will go slowly is the better choice with that, is find the best stuff that works. for
and
us.
the rapid infiltration pond area on the south side of Lopeman, there is a berm there. It was covered in blackberries, and then the blackberries, I know they don't grow as fast as some other noxious weeds, and so we have to remember to keep those down on that. They did get pretty bad on that buffer of that berm. And then there's quite a bit of a driveway. You could kind of see the plant if you drive past Lopeman Road, but there's a significant driveway to get into the plant itself. I don't know, maybe 300, 400 feet, probably somewhere in there.
We did a zoning review and we required landscaping, I believe, along the perimeter too, which would probably be,
On the main road, you mean?
well, I'd be probably around the treatment plant facility.
Yeah.
So that's one of the, I think, one of the requirements when we review it.
If I remember, my argument was they kept all the trees.
Well, existing resident, existing vegetation.
Natural
vegetation
screening. Should we shut this off so I can argue with her?
Children, kids.
The north section there on Ness's Corner, is that gonna just always look like that? Is there some, is that infiltration? You know, the north purple, right?
Oh.
It's Ness's Corner. I mean, that's just, we all.
That's just wetland. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's called treatment. It's kind of.
Oh, we
included-
just put a big,
Big swath.
just big swath. The treatment plant will be within
Yeah.
that area. Then there's, just to install the line, there's, there's 2 6-inches and then a 3-inch line once we get to the edge of Chimkin Creek Estates. They go across the edge of that
That's the
wetland.
picture we just saw.
Mhm.
So it's not gonna be terribly visible unless you're
No,
right there.
It's
Correct.
hard to see.
Yeah.
but in the wintertime with some
Yeah.
of the trees, you can definitely see the houses across if you're standing at the treatment
Right.
plant site and vice versa.
But no smell really and no sound. So it's really this kind of thing that's doing its thing.
Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, thank you, everybody. I think that this was mission accomplished. And hopefully we'll do this again sometime soon.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna try to put the PDF in,
Hang on to that.
hang on to it, okay,
Yeah.
you got it, I will send it to you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Scott. Well done.
I didn't do anything. I just
Yeah.
said.
Thanks to everybody else.
Sure, yeah, you can turn around.